Let's now visit here with Melrose head coach Ryan Dusha. All right, coach, 23-0. All right, game over, huh?
Yeah, not against Albany, not against a good team. So, yeah, it was kind of weird, but I don't want to say it's irrelevant because it's relevant, but we all knew it wasn't going to end up that way. It was just they went through a cold stretch, and we were able to capitalize a little bit. But when that happens, you got to keep capitalizing it. Now, it looks weird because it happens at the beginning of the game, but there's nothing to say that we wouldn't have been down 15 and make a 23-0 run to put us up, 8. So it just happened to be at the beginning of the game. So when that happens, like they're missing, we got to keep scoring. And I felt there was some times in that run where, we missed some shots that we needed to make because you knew that they were coming back.
Sometimes you go through these games and it depends on really which side you're looking at. Was Albany playing good defense, or was Melrose just not very good offensively at times?
No, Albany was very good defensively. They just make it difficult to get into offense, and then with Terrace on the back end, he's very good. And I think in a game like tonight, definitely the shot clock came into factor. You don't see that sometimes with games, but and we knew going into the game that it would turn into a defensive type game that the shot clock would play into it. And so sometimes you rush at the end because it's a team like Albany. Without the shot clock, you do have to just keep swinging the ball and hope that they make a mistake because they're so good defensively. So the shot clock probably played into a little bit of the sloppiness at times, which is, I will say this though, Mark, I'm a proponent and a fan of the shot clock. I really hope we have it at the high school level. I think it makes the game better for everybody. But in a game like tonight, it definitely hurt us at times.
Well, Kyle Beer, it's not like you weren't trying to stop him. You were, sometimes triple team, but he still had 32 points.
He's a special player. He's an absolute special player. I think the thing with him is he is always in control. So you kind of, you don't really want to speed him up, but yet, you got to pressure him because he can shoot the three, but then he's so good at just going hard and stopping. I mean, he's just, he's one of the best players in the state. And so with guys like that, you know that they're going to get shots, and you just got to hope that they miss and get the boards if he does.
Talk about going fast. I recall a few possessions in that first half. Melrose is just going too fast at times. Did you think?
No question. And I think that really had to do a lot with Albany's defense. Mm-hmm. Is that, okay, if that one pass isn't there, then the second pass isn't there, well, then you got to cut really hard and you catch a ball and you're too far out. Now you got to dribble fast because they're right on you. So, yes, we definitely were too fast on offense at times. I think that's because of Albany's D.
But then, when you need a basket, you kind of go back to the old reliables that time. Colton Meyer on the one play, Tyler Brigham to the other side. Those plays work, you execute it.
Yeah, in games like this, and especially when they started trapping and pressing and things like that, that you just got to have playmakers, and you got to space the floor and let your playmakers go. And that's what happened tonight. And we got a couple nice layups towards the end of the game, which, I think maybe, I don't know, don't quote me on the scores, maybe we were up 7 and it put us up to 9 or 6 to 8 or something like that, where they're kind of scramble plays. But, we're fortunate enough to have enough talent on the floor that the ball is going to end up with somebody that can do something with it. So it's not like we have to have one or two guys shooting the ball at all times. We got multiple players that can do those things.
Well, that's the thing with Melrose, especially out of the starting 5. Who's going to get 20 tonight? And so it was Drake Meyer. It was good to see him make his first shot tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think it was against Cathedral that he hit a 3 in the corner kind of towards the end. And sometimes with shooters, it just takes the ball going in the basket. It sounds weird, but to see something you've done forever, but just to see it again, go in the basket. He's a really, really nice player. So it's just with any shooter, it's what type of shots you're shooting. If they're good shots, then it's kind of irrelevant if they go in or not.
Well, we know another guy who brings it every night, Dylan Hyder. No baskets in the first half, but then it's just a matter of time with him to just get things going.
Yeah, sometimes with point guards, they got to distribute, and he's a great passer too. So sometimes they don't score, and of course other teams have and will continue to really try to make life difficult for him. But I think one thing with him that we've seen him do a better job of is not get frustrated if he doesn't get a shot or doesn't make his shots, and just stay with it. And he did a really nice job again tonight. I mean, he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot, especially when it's a scramble type situation.
Can you also kind of highlight the play of Brady Birch? I'm not sure how many blocks he had tonight, but he has that ability, doesn't he?
He's a presence. I mean, he's an absolute presence in there. He's just got long arms, and so his deal is strength, and if he continues to develop his strength, he's very good. But you can't teach 6'5" with a long wingspan, and so it really did he really did a nice job against a really tough matchup in Josh Terrace that he guarded some of the time as well.
Are you at the point of the season, let me ask you something, not to give away a lot of things, but
No.
Are you at a point now to where are you adding things or just kind of tweaking what you've already got in?
Yeah, it's more about tweaking what we have in. I think that we probably overload early on in the season with our stuff and maybe aren't as crisp with the goal towards March of being crisp. So we got enough stuff in, but now, especially with teams that we play a lot, it's, okay, when we run this, they know it's coming. So how do we defend it if they take away option 1? Option 2, and then we get to option 3 or 4, what are those different options? And so it's not so much adding things, it's maybe more refining things that, we haven't really talked about a lot, as the year went on.
So if you're comparing the first time you played Albany to this game here tonight, what were the differences, good and bad?
Well, I think that's a good question. Maybe the shot clock played into us not having to be as patient as we wanted to be, because I think in the first time we played them, we really had to grind it out a lot against them. And when we played him the first time, Beer was just okay. He missed a lot of shots that he normally makes. And so I think that was maybe the big difference, is that he just kind of took over. And we knew that at halftime, we talked about that. He's going to take over this half. So we had to try to limit it as much as possible.
In this game, too, you used a lot of players. So did they, but I think a little more unusual for you tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, we, Frankie Cervantes is hurt right now, and so it kind of messes up the rotation a little bit. And our guys were tired tonight. And so I think one of the reasons you might have seen that is that we had more times tonight than maybe all year where guys asked to come out of the game because they're tired. And that's what they should. We keep on telling them that if you're tired, we can get somebody out. So normally if we just take somebody out and then somebody else out on the court is tired, if 2 guys are tired at the same time or 3 guys, then we got to go a little bit deeper. So, the guys off the bench, we trust them, and that's why we put them in there. And maybe they're in for a minute. Maybe they're in for a minute and a half or 2 minutes, and that's enough sometimes to just get a little bit of a break. So sometimes you got to do that.
Well, that's what Albany does to you, though. They make you get back.
Well, that's a good point. We were, I never thought about that, but that makes total sense that, we were more tired tonight, maybe not because of our conditioning, but maybe because we had to work so hard on offense to get stuff, and then we obviously had to work so hard on defense. So that's probably why I'm getting back, and, maybe our legs are a little bit weak from, the grind of the season too. So that'll be a concern going forward.
Well, when you kind of summarize your season up to this point, you've had every kind of game out there, haven't you?
Yeah.
Bram, a track meet. You've got the pounding the Sauk Center gave you the other day, and boy, it's been something.
It's been great, and I think that's a testament to any great team is, can you win different games? Can you win in the 70s? Can you win in the 30s? And we've proven this year that we can win at different types of games. And so that just shows the experience of our players to play through all sorts of games.
And to just handling the atmosphere, the pressure and everything. I think both teams, Albany went to the state last year, some of these guys, and certainly what Melrose did too. It comes to no surprise that they're able to handle this, right?
Right. Both teams played in big games, and that's why I don't think that Albany got overly rattled when they were down. I mean, I don't even want to say they were shell-shocked. They weren't yelling at each other. They weren't pointing fingers. They were just trying to get through it, and that shows a lot of experience in them. That shows a great job of Coach Sieben and his staff to, all right, let's just get through it. And our guys have been in a lot of situations too. I mean, you just can't put a price on experience, and you can't duplicate it in practice.
Well, that's what's kind of fun about these kind of games. These guys have played against each other since 4th grade.
Right. So they're experienced in their own right from games, but then they just know each other. So that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, you could see afterwards, they all slapped each other and had some smiles, but, they go after each other, though.
They do. It's what small-town basketball is. You know the other guy and respect him, and you work hard. But afterwards, you can talk to each other. I see a bunch of the guys on the court right now. That's the way it should be.
Mm-hmm. So what do you got coming up now, and how are you doing?
Yeah, we got Osakis on Thursday here, and then we go to ACGC on Friday. So we've got 3 games this week, and this took a lot out of us in our recent schedule as we played Thursday, Friday. So I think that will be a concern as we move forward here. And then these next games are trap games, that I think that we go into our next 2 games for sure as the favorite against Osakis and ACGC. But, we saw how Minnewaska, when they beat us, went to Bold and lost. So, we just got to be able to come back mentally and not overlook teams, and it's getting down there.
Yeah.
So
can you also highlight for us too, so the fans know and they're aware on what's happening on the 13th?
Yeah. So on the 13th, we play Bram at St. Cloud State at 8:15 after the men's game. The men's game starts at 6 o'clock. So it's just a varsity-only game. And if you go to the men's game beforehand, it'll be a great game. St. Cloud State versus Morehead State, and St. Cloud State's got Scotty Stone from Melrose, and Morehead State's got Tyler Vaughn from Bram. So that's why we decided to do it after that, because we thought a lot of Bram and Melrose fans will be able to go down and catch a couple games.
And I'm sure you want that to be the game that you're going to play Bram again on that same court.
Right. I think we always like to get a college floor game, whether it's at St. John's or St. Cloud State, and it just happened to be against Bram there. So I know you're going to hate me saying this, but we really that's not why we scheduled that for that purpose. It was just to get on a college floor, and there's so many things to get through before we'd even think about that. But it'll be a nice game for us, but we got a lot of things to do before then.
And what makes it fun is you know as well as I do, other teams have other plans than what you're saying.
Oh, no question. And I mean, everyone knew our section would be very good, and our subsection is very good. So it's going to be tough to kind of predict who's going to come out of both sides. I think Bram and Cathedral are the clear favorites on the other side, and I think that there's not that much of a difference between the two. And if you look at specifically us, Sauk Center, Albany, and Holdingford, I don't think there's that much of a difference between those 4 teams either. So that's not to take away anything from the other teams in our subsection, because there's no question that Long Prairie and Osakis and Royalton and St. John's can give any team a scare, but that's what makes it fun.
And also let's highlight too, and just give a shout out to all the fans who came on a kind of a tough night to get here.
Yeah, it was great. It's a great atmosphere. When things started canceling, are we canceled? Are we canceled? No, we're good. And so I think people like basketball, and especially if other things got canceled, it's maybe just, hey, let's watch a good game. But I think if you see 2 teams that work hard and hopefully play the game the right way, it makes it fun for the fans. But thanks for everybody for coming out tonight.
All right. Well, and thanks for the fun.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
All right. That's Ryan Dusha, the Melrose boys basketball coach. And again, Melrose won tonight over Albany, 62-56.